Okay, I'm going to give a few seconds. I just realized I didn't have my Done Right Financial Solutions branding in here, so I need to do that. But since the brand is similar to Destined to Be You, we'll leave that up. We'll just take the logo off. Oh, wait, I do have it. There we go. You can barely see it, though, because they're the same. They're the same. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So I'm going to tag a few people, give some people a few minutes to get on. But y'all know how I roll, whether they own or not. I am going to give the information. But let me go ahead and see if I can make sure it doesn't mess up. Okay. So we're live on YouTube and on Facebook. And I am on my Done Right Financial page and my tax tip page, and then on my Done Right Financial YouTube channel. So hey, all of you, if you want, you can go, let me put that up so you guys can know how to ask your questions so I can see them. You can go to this and leave questions, and I believe those comments will show up because since I'm not directly on Facebook and directly on YouTube. In order for me to see the comments, I need you to go there, and then your comments will pop up, and then I can answer them as we go along. But let me see. Okay, here we are. I'm just going to tag a few people. Actually, I wonder if I can share this to. Let's see. See if I can share this to. So let's not make this false trial. Share this on my main page so people can know. And then I'm going to tag a few people. Okay, then we'll get started. I know I always talk about people who do this, and here I am doing it, but there were a few people I told them I was going to be doing this, and so I want to let them know I'm on. Okay, so what is the big deal about the economic injury disaster loan and the Paycheck Protection Program, PPP, the EIDL, which is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, and the PPP, which is the Payroll Protection Program? What is the big deal about that? And why should you even care if you are a small business, an entrepreneur, if you are somebody who was in business in 2019. And the important thing to remember through all of this that I'm telling you about is that you had to be in business in 2019. Now, many people, because things happened in 2020, they lost their jobs, or they seen an opportunity and they filled that opportunity. They began businesses in 2020. And maybe the business that they were doing in 2019 isn't the same business that they were doing in 2020. I will address that in a moment. But let's talk about these programs so you can have an understanding. Number one, they both come from the Small Business Administration. Okay? They're two separate departments, but they're from the same place. So SBA, Small Business Association or Administration, is the one giving the money. There's two ways to apply. For the economic injury disaster loan, you apply directly to the SBA, the Small Business Administration. You go to their website, sba.gov, and there's a link that says economic injury disaster loan, apply here. And if you haven't applied before, you can apply for that loan. Okay. It's a very simple process that you can go through. I have clients that have hired me to do all of that and to make sure that they understand the questions, because there's a lot of legalese, and that's the reason why I'm on here and I'm trying to make this very plain. Because if you are a small business owner, you are an entrepreneur, you are self-employed, you are an independent contractor getting a 1099 miscellaneous, or an NEC that they've now changed the 1099 miscellaneous to the 1099 NEC. You're getting those types of payments. People pay you cash. They pay you through PayPal. They pay you through Square. The money comes to you. It goes to your bank and you pay yourself out of the money that you earn. Okay, as long as it's not a hobby. Okay, so let's back up a little bit. A business, according to the IRS, a business is you are in whatever you're doing to make money. You're in it to make a profit. You're in it to make money. If you are in a situation where you have got a side hustle and you're doing all of this and you're in it to make money, and because of the pandemic, that cut how much money you could make, and or you made a whole lot in 2019 and 2020, not so much, right? 2021, you're kind of coming back, but you're still not making what you could make because of the pandemic. I am talking to you, okay? As long as it's not a hobby and you are in it for profit, you can apply for these loans. Again, it's the Economic Injury Disaster Loan and it's the PPP loan. So let's talk about the EIDL loan. You go to the SBA website, and like I said, there's a link on their website so you can apply. They ask you a few words, they ask you a few questions. You have to answer those questions yes or no. That is going to determine whether or not you are eligible for the loan. And then you're going to tell them about your business. They want to know when your business started, if your business has an EIN number, or if you use your social. Are you 100% owner or 20% owner? And you have to be at least 20% owner in the business in order to qualify, okay? Now, The crazy thing is that if you are not the sole owner of the business, there are other owners. You have to tell the SBA that there are other owners, and you also have to get them to give you their information, because SBA is going to ask about their relationship to the business and want to know what their percentage of ownership of that business is. And so you want to be able to have that. Again, like I said, I have clients who have come to me and they're like, look, when there's a headache, can you just do it for me? I charge a fee, I do it for them, and all they have to do is wait to be funded. Okay? There's no guarantee that they're going to be funded, but all of the paperwork is in order. And as long as the paperwork is in order, I don't see a reason why you would be denied, especially if there's still money in the pot. And right now, there's still money in the pot. So you have until May 31st to apply for these loans. Okay? They extended it. It was March 31st. That was supposed to be the last day. They extended it to May. Because I got some good news for you. Because President Biden gave them more money. Yay! So since they got more money, they want to give it to more people. The issue is that they're trying to give it to people, and people don't know that they qualify for it. And the first time they did this, they had money left over, because they thought, the people were going to rush in, and the people were like, I don't even know if I can apply for the loan. So a lot of people that were qualified to apply for the loan, or I should say eligible to apply for the loan, didn't apply for the loan. So they had this money left over. Let's not let them have any money left over this time, okay? So the emergency, the EIDL loan, you go to SBA. If you want to know more information about that, you can go to sba.gov and you can read all about that. I may do a separate video on that, but today I'm going to focus on the PPP loan. But I may do another video kind of outlining the other loan, because it is a loan. It's not forgivable like the PPP loan. And so I want to spend more of my time on the PPP loan, because it's really kind of sort of a grant with stipulations, okay? So it's not really a loan. It's a grant with stipulations. And if you don't want to have to pay it back, you have to follow those stipulations. Now, the worst thing, or I should say the troublesome thing, is that a lot of people have applied for these PPP loans that don't even have a business, right? And they got money. But you are a business owner, and you need the money to help you stay in business. So you need to grab your paper and your pencil and take some notes. If you have questions, you need to write those questions in the chat room, okay? And I will answer those questions if I don't get to them, or if you're watching this in the replay, still type your questions, because it'll tell me that you left a comment, and I can go back in and I can answer your question. And if there's enough questions, I may come back on to do like a clarifying video. So if your business is struggling because of COVID related shutdowns and challenges, help is here, okay? Congress has passed the bill, the American Rescue Bill, and that changed everything. Last year it was the CARES Act. Then they passed the economic aid to hard hit small businesses and venues, and then now we have the America Rescue Plan. And there's another plan that's coming out with the infrastructure. And so there's all of these things that Biden or President Biden is trying to put into place to help middle class America, to help the small business, to help those that need the help the most. And if I am talking to the right group of people, that would be you. Okay. So help is here, and it's here through the reauthorization of the payroll protection program, the PPP, right? And the first time it ended August 2020. So some people applied for the PPP last year. They got it. They were happy. We thought that was going to be the end. And then it reopened, right? It reopened. And now that it's reopened, people that did not apply last year for what they call round one, they can now apply for round one. Pay attention. They can now apply for round one and round two at the same time. There's no lapse. At first, they said you apply for round one. If you are approved, you wait the 8 weeks and then you apply for round two. But they have since made it a little bit more easier, and they're fast tracking it by saying now you can apply for round one and round two at the same time, get qualified, or get pre-authorized. I don't know how better to say it, for some dollar amounts, and then they verify your information, and then you'll know what they are going to give you up front, right? Based on the amount of money that you made, they will tell you, okay, well, your loan's going to be $20,000, your loan's going to be $150,000, and so on and so forth. So here's the thing, people. Here's the thing. Why not apply? The worst thing they can say is no, right? And you will be in the same situation you're in right now. But if you apply and they say yes, you get money. You get money. Money to help you keep yourself in business. Money to help you keep doing what you love to do, but what you say you love. Okay? So, the new COVID relief bill has two main purposes: to offer funding to small businesses that didn't receive a PPP loan the first round, and two, to give certain qualified businesses a chance to get a second PPP loan. Okay, so here it is. The people that applied last year, because this is where the confusion comes in. The people that applied last year in 2020 and got the PPP loan, they only need to apply for round two. When they apply for round two, they have to show that between 2019 and 2020, there was a decrease in their income. Okay? They have to show that decrease in order for them to get round two. People that did not apply for round one last year and are applying for round one this year, you just have to follow the rules to show them that you were hit in 2020, right? You made less money than you did in 2019. Basically, what they are asking you for is they're asking if you are a sole proprietor or a entrepreneur and you did a Schedule C. They're asking for your Schedule C. They want to know what was on line 7 and what on line 31. Some lenders want both figures. Some lenders only want line 7. Okay, so you need to have your Schedule C available when you apply for both the PPP loan and the economic injury disaster loan. because they're going to ask you for that number on line 7. And that's the number that you report. Line 31 is the number that is your gross minus all your expenses. Now, here's what is the issue. Because many of us, when we do our taxes, we try to make that self-employment tax be as small as possible. And so we write off everything but the kitchen sink. And in times past, that's been the way to go, right? But when it comes to the loans, it matters what you make, because that's going to determine how much you get. So you want to report what's on line 7 and not what's on line 31. Now, if they ask for line 31, guess what? You got to give it to them. But if they don't ask for it, give them what's on line number 7. Okay? So those are the two purposes of the PPP loan. And once the SBA opened the program, people began to apply. But there's been a lot of questions around if people are eligible to apply or not. And that's what I want to get into. If you are, and I'm going to say it again, if you are a small business, and I believe it's less than 500 employees, actually, I believe it went down to 300. So the first year it was 500. This year it's 300. So if you're a small business, less than 300 employees, you are eligible. If you are an entrepreneur and you are in business for profit, not for hobby, just doing it willy-nilly. And this is what I want to talk to all my paparazzi, my Mary Kay, Tupperware, those direct sales type ladies. If you are a stay-at-home mom and you are pushing this business and really trying to help your family by bringing in a certain amount of money into your business, that's not a hobby. Now, if you're selling paparazzi like me, it's a hobby. Because I'm not out there hustling like I could. If you're selling Tory Cosmetics and you're trying to bring in the money and you're out there every day, several hours a day, pushing your product, trying to get people to buy and or come under you on your team, you are working that business. And so since you are working that business, if you were hit by the pandemic, you qualify to go in and apply for these loans. Think about what type of inventory you can buy for yourself to make sure that you meet your income goals. All right. So qualified businesses will receive 2.5 times the average monthly payroll cost, up to 10 million. Business owners can get the loan forgiven if they use 60% of the money to cover payroll costs. And this is to retain employees. Okay. A lot of people had employees. They have to let those employees let them go because they couldn't afford to pay them because they were heavy hit. Well, the PPP loan came out and they were then able to apply for this loan, get some money, and then bring those people back on to work because now I can pay you out of my PPP loan. And you have 8 weeks to use the money. So 60% of it is payroll. Now, someone says, well, Linda, I don't have any employees, but you have yourself. You are employee number 1. You are ground zero. So you can use 60% of that money to pay yourself. That's payroll. You can use 100% to pay yourself back. So here you have it. They want you to use the money for payroll. They want you to use it to retain employees, to keep the employees that you have. And because we're in this world where people are being laid off, you can probably hire people and use that money to pay them. You have 8 weeks to use it up. Or, have this plan in place that the money will be used up. Okay? So 60% towards payroll costs. The other 40% you can use for covered expenses. Covered expenses like rent, if you're brick and mortar, rent, mortgage, interest, utilities, things like that for your building. But they've also opened it up now because they recognize that not everybody is a brick and mortar business. Some people, like me, I have QuickBooks. I pay for QuickBooks online. I pay for the software that I use online. I have a lot of cloud things. I have monthly subscriptions. And so all of those things, they have to be in place prior to you applying for this loan. But you would use the money to pay those things off, and you can use up to 40% of the money to do that. Okay? The loan requires no collateral or personal guarantee, and the interest rate, if you have to pay it back, is 1%. Now, the interest for the EIDL is 3.75%. And like I said, that is a loan that has to be paid back. It is not like the PPP where it can be forgiven. But the PPP can be 100% forgiven where you don't have to pay it back at all if you use it according to the way that it's supposed to be used. So under the new legislation, the SBA is getting over $284 billion in funding for the first and second time PPP loan borrowers. The bill also states that $20 billion will be set aside to provide economic injury disaster loans, grants to businesses and low-income communities. So let me say this. For those of you that applied for the EIDL last year, and they have that big old hoopla where you applied for the loan, you got the loan, and then a few days later you got a portion of the grant. You were supposed to get $10,000, but what they ended up doing is giving you $1,000 per employee. So someone like me, I only got $1,000 of the grant money because I only have one employee. I got the loan and I got $1,000 grant. Now what they're doing is they have set aside $20 billion to correct that situation. That's good news. So everyone that applied last year will get an email invite. You will get an email invite to apply for the rest of the loan or the rest of the grant. A grant is something you don't have to pay back. It's separate from the loan. So if you only got $1,000 like I did, you can potentially apply for the additional $9,000. And if you meet the qualifications, you will get it. Okay? You have to wait for your invite to apply, because what the SBA is doing is they're giving you a unique link to your record. So I can't send you my link and you go in because it won't work for you. So you have to wait for that email to come. You follow the email. It's very simple. I just did it the other day. It's very simple, very straightforward. You show them what you made in 2019. You show them what you made in 2020. and the first quarter of this year. So January, February, and March. And you submit it back to them. You don't have to submit any um, any financial documents or anything like that. If they need something more from you, they will send you an email or call you up on the phone and tell you what they need. Okay? So you don't have to worry about it. Also, if you applied for the EIDL, since I'm talking about that right now, last year, they have been given a little bit more money with the new lady that has taken over. She has allotted more money for the EIDL. And so you will get another email from them, and that email is called Increased Loan Limits for COVID-19 EIDL Program. And what it says is that according to their records, you received the Economic Injury Disaster Loan from the U.S. Small Business Administration to help your business weather through the financial hardships brought on by the pandemic. They are giving you an opportunity. I'm not going to read the whole thing. They're giving you an opportunity to send an email to them with your loan application number and your loan number, your name, your address, and your phone number. Again, you don't have to submit any financial documentation, but you go in and you send them this email, and then they will they will take a look at your application and qualify you or try to qualify you for an additional amount to add to the loan that you've already received. Now, that's good news for those of you that felt that you didn't get quite as much as you should have gotten. They were giving out the loans because they wanted to stretch the money. Now they have more money and they're willing to rethink the loan amount that they gave you. And so you need to do that. The quicker you do it, the better. So if you got that email, mine is dated April 6th. Hopefully you got that same email if you've already received the loan. If you haven't been approved for the EIDL loan, you cannot do this yet because you haven't been approved. Once you get approved, you may be able to go in because they may send you that same email and say, let's see if we can get you a little bit more money. And if they do, then you can go in and apply for an increased rate, okay? So, or an increased limit. So those things are good news. That's good news for small businesses that are struggling. But according to the legislation that was passed, another $15 billion is going to Shelter Revenue Operators Grant. Now, you can apply for EIDL and the Shutter Venue Operators Grant. You can't do that, okay? So you got to do one or the other. And the shelter venue is for like independent movie theaters, theaters that do like Broadway type shows, things that totally had to shut down and could not open because there was no way for them to open with COVID, right? I mean, there's no way you open up a movie theater and you only have 25 people. It was just no way for them to operate. And so the big chains can't go for this. This is for the independent one. Again, we're talking small business. So they have something to help you out. So if you're that type of business, and even restaurants and things like that, if you are that type of business, they've been another $15 billion has been set aside to help you. Okay, so independent movie theaters, cultural institutions, live venues that have been forced to close their doors. Another $12 billion is dedicated to supporting businesses in low income and minority communities. Okay, so if you are a minority business owner and you operate in a minority community, you want to think about applying for this. if you are not a minority, but your business is in a minority community and you serve the minority communities that you are housed in, you can apply for this, okay? So the new round of PP loans will be available to three categories of businesses. Number one, qualified small businesses that did not receive a PPP loan during the first round of funding, so last year. Two, previous PPP loan recipients who need a second loan and meet certain criteria. That criteria is you got to show that there was a percentage, I believe it's a 30%, 25 to 30% decrease in revenue. And you can choose, like, say, the last quarter, and you compare it to the last quarter of 2020 to show that there's a decrease in sales. Or you can choose whatever quarter you want to choose to do that. But you have to prove to them that you had a decrease in sales. Number three, previous PPP loan recipients who returned all or part of their original loan and want to apply for additional funding. Every business that applies for a PPP loan needs to have been in operation since at least February 15th, 2020. Okay. So if you started your business after that, unfortunately, you're not eligible. You do not qualify for this loan. But if you were in business from at least February 15th, 2020 and before, then you qualify for this. The first time PPP borrowers from the following groups are eligible to apply: small businesses or nonprofit organizations with fewer than, well, here it says 500, but I believe it's 300 employees. And you qualify for the same type of loan, which was an SBA 7A loan. If you qualify for that loan, then you qualify for this loan. Small businesses, 501c19 veteran organizations, tribal businesses, and small agricultural cooperatives that meet the SBA size standards. Sole proprietors, independent contractors, and self-employed people. Let me say it again. I'm going to do the George Bush thing. Read my lips. Sole proprietors, independent contractors, and self-employed people. You qualify for this. Whether you got one employee or it's you and your spouse as an employee or as employees, or you and your 10 kids. You can apply for this, okay? Food services or hospitality businesses with the NAICS code starting with 72 that have fewer than 300 employees per physical location. So those are the criteria for you to apply. Now, for the previous PPP loan recipients, here's your qualifications. Have fewer than 300 employees, have already used or will use the full amount of their first PPP loan, can demonstrate a 25% reduction in gross revenue from any quarter in 2020 compared to the same quarter in 2019. So previous PPP loan recipients who received all or part of their loans can apply for another funding or for more funding. Okay. And so we do know that some employers gave back money last year. They felt like they got too much, and or they felt like, okay, well, we got approved, but there are other people that are struggling way more than us. I believe it was like the MBA or something like that, and they gave all of their money back. So some people did that, but they do have an opportunity if they are in need to apply for additional funding. So PPP2 loans give qualified businesses a loan of 2.5 times their average monthly payroll. So it's the same thing that you're going to get, either determined by the calendar year in 2019 or 2020, or by the 12 months prior to the date the application is submitted. Hospitality and food service businesses with the code of 72 will receive up to 3.5 times their average. Because remember, hotels, restaurants, things of that nature, they were hit really heavy. And so they're giving that consideration and giving them a little bit more. But the one big change is the max loan amount, which is down from 10 million, because they could get up to $10 million. And in 2020, or 10 million in 2020, it's down to 2 million in this second loan. So the cap that they'll give, instead of it being 10 million, they're only giving 2 million. Okay. That's the major change. That's the thing that dings us, right? But everything else has been for our benefit. Every other change has been for the benefit of the small business. Congress has also updated other specific aspects of the PPP, including the following: expanded coverage for the loan under the original payroll protection program. Business owners could get their loans partially or fully forgiven if they spent the funds on payroll costs, utilities, rent, and mortgage interest payments. With this round, PPP2, there will be an expanded coverage, or there is an expanded coverage for expenditures beyond payroll, utilities, and rent, and mortgage interest, making it easy to obtain partial or full loan forgiveness. There is also one notable change to payroll costs, which is the addition of employer-provided group insurance benefits, including group life, disability, vision, and dental insurance. So if you are giving your people fringe benefits, as we call them, you're giving them benefits, you can look at it and say that, because I'm doing this group insurance benefit, I pay for their group life, I pay for their disability, I pay for their vision, I pay for their dental, and all of that. You can include those payments. Now, again, they have to be something that you were already doing. This cannot be any new stuff. No new stuff. All right? No, okay, well, now that I got the money, I'm going to start giving my employees benefits. No, you have to already be giving them benefits, and this allows you to continue to give them benefits. All right? Here are some new areas to allocate for loans. So operation expenditures, software installments or upgrades, cloud computing, or other human resource or accounting needs, property damage costs not covered by insurance, related to property damage from any public disturbance that occurred in 2020. So if your building was vandalized and windows broken out, and your insurance only paid for, you have to pay a deductible of $500 and your insurance only paid like half of what they quoted you, you can now utilize that money and say, look, I have to pay this amount of money out to fix my bill so I can continue doing business. They will now accept those payments, okay? Supplier costs, any expenditures to a supplier related to a contract, purchase order, or other order for goods that are essentially to your business's operations at the time the expenditure is made. So if you are paying like Staples and you get like a weekly office supply, and they just deliver paper and printers and toners and they've been doing that, right? Because it's on a purchase order or you set it up that way, you can now use that cost, okay? And then workers' protection. So if you are buying PPE, which is personal protection equipment, you can now utilize that because they understand you're only buying that in the quantity that you're buying it because of COVID. Okay, so all those disinfectant wipes, those gloves, those masks, whatever you're buying, you can now utilize those costs. And they have simplified the loan forgiveness application to make it easier to obtain forgiveness. Okay. Another change that is no longer required. You're no longer you're no longer required to deduct your EIDL advance grant money from your PPP loan forgiveness amount. So last year when you got the PPP, if you got the EIDL grant, whatever that dollar amount was, you had to deduct that from your loan forgiveness. They are not requiring you to do that anymore, okay? The new legislation also streamlines the forgiveness application for loans of $150,000 or less. To apply for forgiveness, you must receive the loan of 150 or less. You have to submit a one-page application to your lender. So again, with the PPP, you're going through a lender. You're not going directly to the SBA, although the SBA is the one who funds it. Okay? So you're not going to the SBA. The EIDL, you go directly to the SBA, to their website. The PPP, you got to find a lender, most likely the bank that you do your business banking with. It should be the one that you do because you have a relationship with them, right? But if not, there's PayPal does it. A lot of fintech groups are doing it and they have been approved. Okay. So you can go to any of those. I use Womply. And they have a fast track. I like them. They're simple. If you want to do it on your own, you want to hire me, you can hire me. And those are the people that I use. If you want to do it on your own, you can contact me. I'll give you a link so you can go in and do it. Okay. Let's see what else. Okay, so now let's talk and I'm going to end soon. So let's talk a little bit about tax deductibility. A loan is not taxable income. Why? Because you have to pay it back. That's not income. Income is something you make and you keep and you spend it how you want to, right? This loan, this PPP loan, it's a loan. The EIDL is a loan. You have to pay it back. The PPP, you get forgiveness, but here it is. Just like the original PPP loan, you cannot count your PPP loan forgiveness amount as part of your business's gross income. Okay, so you can't add it to your gross income to make it look like you made more money. However, the new bill clarifies that any business expenditures or expenses that are paid with a forgiven PPP loan and are otherwise deductible will be tax deductible. So here it is. Whatever you made outside of this PPP loan, whatever you made, you deduct the money that you spent with the PPP loan to pay these expenditures, these expenses. You can deduct them, and so therefore it'll look like you spent more money than you made. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the tax break. That is the good thing, that you can still get those things deducted. You couldn't before because you couldn't count the money in. Now you don't count the money in, but you will get the deduction of the expenses. And this provision applies to PPP-1 loan, so the loans you might have gotten last year, and all PPP loans going forward. Okay? So that's the good thing. Those are some wonderful things. More money has been given to the PPP. More money has been given to the EIDL. So you guys need to apply. And if you have not applied, you have until May 31st to do so. Once May 31st roll around, it's done. It's over until the next bill comes out that reopens it. But don't wait. The sooner you get in, the quicker they can process your loan and get you your money. And you need to make sure that you have everything. You're going to need a voided check. You're going to need your Schedule C. You're going to need your 2019 tax return. You're going to need your EIN number if that's how you operate. You're going to need your formation papers. If you're an LLC, you're going to need your payroll that you paid out. So you're going to need that payroll report in front of you. There's a lot of paperwork that you need. What I like about Walkley is that they don't require as much paperwork, but you're still going to need documents. Okay? You're going to still need those. And if you have employees, you're going to need to show your payroll. Okay? So again, it can be a headache, and there's a lot of legalese and a lot of terms that a lot of people don't recognize, don't understand. When they read the question, they got to read it back and forth and flip it over and all of that. If you need help, ask for help. It's okay. You want to put your best foot forward. So get the help that you need. The people that I help, most of them are getting funded. Some of them are still in the pipelines waiting, but no one has been denied unless they just didn't make any money. I mean, if your Schedule C says negative 30,000, you didn't make no money. They can't give you anything. That's all I'm saying. Okay? So if you have any questions, reach out to me. You can email me. You can contact me on Facebook, on YouTube. If you got my phone number, give me a call. You can call me through Done Right Financial Solutions, area code 209-565-1230. Again, the number is 209-565-1230. So you can contact me there. I'm a tax preparer. Credit risk specialist, all of that. I can help you in so many ways to get your finances together and get you in a place where you can thrive, not just survive. And that's what I'm here to do. Okay. So hopefully this has been helpful. A lot of people have been asking me questions, and hopefully I addressed those questions. If I did not, if you're still unclear, knock on my door and say, Linda, I'm still unclear. And we can have a phone call, or we can have a Zoom call or a Skype call, or I can come back on live and answer your questions. There are a lot of people out there talking and giving out advice and doing all of that. I didn't want to just come out and be willy-nilly and say a bunch of stuff. I wanted to research it. I wanted to give you the facts, and I wanted to make it where it was simple and understandable. Okay? One of the people that I follow, his name is Max Mayer. He is a godsend. Okay. He inspired me just to be, to keep it simple, right? Keep it simple, because when you do this for a living, you can get very involved and people's eyes start glossing over and they'll be like, okay, I know what you're telling me is good stuff, but I'm just not there. And so I watched him, and I've seen how this everyday guy who doesn't do finances, he's not a financial advisor, he's not anything in finance, he actually owns a moving company. He explains it so every day that I was like, yeah, I can do that. So thanks, Max. If you're watching, thanks. Shout out to you. Talk to you guys later. I am Coach Linda. I am your tax professional, and I'm out.